What's up, everybody out there in the Frontline universe? I'm Chris, he's Mike, and welcome to the last, hopefully, late Dark Avenger comic book review for the last week of 2016.
Of December 28th, 2016.
The end of 2016, and as you guys know, starting in 2017, the review is going to change a little bit. I saw a lot of your guys' comments. I saw Peter Barker's, and you're right, Pete. Less is always more. So starting, actually, ironically, we're gonna preview a little bit of this honorable shout out because there are some books that I'm sort of in the middle of still a little bit. Not as many, but there are a few indie books. So I added. I was just going to say, I added all the books I'm reading instead of taking out the ones that I was going to leave out of my review. The only one I took out that is not in this list is Rom, and that's because 2-1 I'm probably going to drop it. So that's why I won't be mentioning Rom issue, I believe it's 9. Yeah. I started reading it, and I said, you know what, maybe later I'll come back to it. So Rom is not on this list at all, you were saying?
Yeah, that not to mention that I've already reviewed some of the books on Comic Frontline. So...
And we both have talked about the books on Frontline
Live.
So if you really want an in-depth review of any of the books that you guys feel we breezed through in this review, go check out Frontline Live. We discussed all the huge books this week plus more. So just a real briefing on why some of the books why this review might look a little bit like breeze through. And the good news is we should have all of our books by today. As we're recording, this is Thursday. All of our physical books should be here tomorrow, which is Friday. There should be a haul up by Saturday morning, and then hopefully the review up by Monday. Either day or Monday night right after we record it. So fingers crossed. And I don't think there's that many books coming next week. So we should be good for the first week of 2017. And that means we could jump into the newer books right away for the second week of 2017. But we got a nice amount of books, so let's get into it. This is going to be hard because some of these books I read a week ago and some of these books I read only a few days ago. Alien Defiance issue number... Thank you. You can shrink it. Issue number 8. This issue was more about, I forgot I keep forgetting that main character's name when I do these reviews, but she's having nightmares about aliens, about the ship going down. There's the alien that's still cryogenically frozen, the woman who's still in very critical condition, because you're not supposed to survive when the alien bursts out. It's supposed to kill you. So the fact that they operated it out, they're starting to wonder...
I'm going to log out.
Oh, thank you, yes. So it may you threw me up a little bit there, but they're having trouble with her because she's dying and they're having a hard time keeping her alive. So they need to go to a base to get her the stuff she needs. But twist of fate here, the alien that's cryogenically frozen, apparently he's starting to thaw out and it's starting to grow. The alien.
Wow.
It's getting dangerous.
So wait, the alien that's in the stomach, or
the alien that they. What happened was they operated it out and threw it into cryo before it really
and it was still alive.
Right. So now that it's getting warmer, the alien's evolving and it's getting bigger.
Wow.
Now, that's an interesting book. I'm not going to lie. Defiance is an okay series, but what I'm loving, and it's issue 1 of the next part to Life and Death, and that is Alien versus Predator, issue number 1. Gal goes alive in this issue. We find out that him and Abe both survived the engineer's attack. But now they're trapped on planet. And what I like is the characters I did not like in the spaceship are dealt with in the most inhumane Predator way possible. Now, as you guys can see, it's Alien versus Predator. We've been dealing with the aliens, so who do you think is going to join the fight? The Predators. So they end up invading the ship at the beginning of the issue. They hear the distress calls on planet, so they go on planet. And now you've got the soldiers and everybody who are still surviving. They just rescued Chris from the hive, and she's impregnated, so she needs to get into cryogenic freeze ASAP. And now they're trapped on world with her carrying the new queen. The queen fought the engineer, and they're both dead. So now the aliens have no leader, so they're going after the soldiers. So they find an engineer ship, and they're trying to get that off the ground, or they're using it as a shelter at least. And they get attacked by the aliens. That's where Galgo and Abraham show up, but they show up with bad news. Ahab's family is coming in for a reunion, so things are about to go from bad to
To
bad
worse.
and complicated. No, bad and complicated. Because remember, he's working with the humans. So things are going to get very complicated by the end of this story arc. And I think, I'm trying to remember if there is one more arc after this. I know Alien was before. I'm trying to remember if we got Predator and if we got... I don't think we got straight up Predator. So we might get... I think there's still Predator to go. I don't remember off the top of my head. But this is 4 parts. And then we're going to go into the next, and I believe, final part of the arc. If there's a final part. I might just be completely forgetting. Because it's all... It's not like in Fire and Stone where Fire and Stone, all 4 miniseries were going on at the exact same time, so you knew all 4 miniseries were going on. This one, it's 4 parts, next story. But this is what I don't get. With this story, unlike Fire and Stone took place in different places and time. Life and Death is the same story continuing forward. So from one part to the other, if you jumped into this issue without reading the previous couple of stories, you'd be completely lost. So really the only thing that's changing is the title. The story is still the same. It's still moving forward in the exact same timeline. So Alien vs. Predator is the next part to Alien. In this case, it's one big story, and they should have just thrown all the names at the title and just done an issue 1 of 12 instead of issue 1 of 4, and then restart, new title, but it's the same story, issue 1 of 4. It's literally a linear, part 4 goes to part 1 of the next series story. It literally takes place one right after the other, right after the other, right after the other. There's no time gap, there's no difference in the story. It's all one straight up story, which is great, but like I said, the titling, I figured they could have just used the same title and done all 12 issues as the same. Yeah. So I don't know. That's just a nitpick. I'm still liking the series. The artwork did change also, so I guess there's that also. The artwork changed, and I believe the writer is different for this story. I'm not too sure now. I believe the art changed, but the writer, no, Dan Abnett. No, I think that he's been doing the whole story. Anyway, Grimm Fairy Tales issue number 1. I'm going to give you guys a bit of a spoiler here. We were supposed to have issue 1 for you guys physically. We ordered a special thing for Grimm Fairy Tales issue number 1. If you had previews for this month, you know what that special thing is. Apparently, DCBS claims that is back ordered all the way through until the beginning of February. So we won't be able to show you guys that special issue number 1 that we got until the beginning of February. So hang tight, and we will have the physical copy of Grimm Fairy Tales issue 1. I already have 2, 3, and we have to do our order for March, but we will be getting Grimm Fairy Tales physically. As a matter of fact, I'm thinking of getting an issue 1 physically just in case it cancels in February to be safe. But anyway, the story itself is really good. Sela is gone. You get a nice recap at the beginning of what happened in the last story arc, what happened with Sela, that Sky is now the protector and guardian of all the realms. She has the book. Shang is her mentor or her teacher. And what I love is that book opens up with her, not opens up right away. There's a little setup for the story for the first issue. And then you go to Sky and Shang. And she's like, well, how did Mom use the book? What power did she have? You have to have an idea. And Shang's like, I got to be honest with you. I have no clue how your mother used the book. I have no clue what powers you'll have because you're a different person. It's the same book, but it's going to give you different things. So what your mother had might not necessarily mean it's something you have, and some things that you have your mother might not have had. So he can't help her. This is all going to be, for the first couple of story arcs I could see, a discovery of what she can and can't do and how the book works, because Sky has no clue how the book works either. And I love Shang's advice. Do what you do with any book. Read it. And the first story is Red Riding Hood. And the book sucks her in and takes it to an issue that's going on, which is what the book opened with werewolves. There's a werewolf chasing this girl, and this was really more of a setup to, introducing Sky as the main character, setting up the universe again a bit, getting you caught up to speed, obviously, with the setup at the beginning, what happened in the last volume. So Sky has to deal with this werewolf issue. We find out that there are 2 werewolves. One is good and one is evil. And one is chasing after the girl. The other one is trying to protect her. It was a really great story with a real twist at the end of who the evil werewolf actually was. So it looks like it's going to be a really awesome series. I enjoyed the first issue. It was in my top 5 on Frontline. I can't wait for the next issue. This is a huge book, and congratulations. Love is love. You are the official first honorable shout out for the Dark Avenger comic book review show. This book is a really nice book. A lot of stores did not have it physically, I noticed, in their stock. I know a lot of people on Frontline tried to get it and they didn't. I know that Kat got it through Comixology. I know Mike got it digitally as well. So it's a hard book to grasp, but it's really good. There's a lot of short stories in there, and it all centers around what happened in Orlando, and the money goes to the proceeds of this book's sales goes to helping and to the cause of helping that situation. It's a really great book. There are some real sad stories in there, and there's some real nice stories in there as well. I haven't finished reading it yet. It's a big book. A big, big book. So what I did was I read as much as I could, and then I started skimming. There's guest appearances from Batman, Supergirl, Superman, Wonder Woman, I think, makes an appearance. There are a ton of superheroes that make appearances in this book. It's really great. It was IDW crossing over with DC, and tons of different writers, tons of different artists, lots of stories. This reminded me, you know what it reminded me of, and I hate, I have the book, but it reminded me, remember when DC did 9/11?
Yeah.
And you had all those short stories in it? It reminded me of that sort of, a little bit. It was a really wonderful book, and all the money goes to a really good cause. So if you would like to get that book, I would definitely recommend it. I believe it's $10, and it's the size of a trade paperback. So at least it's not $10 like DC did for their holiday special, or Marvel does for anything that's issue 25, or there's a death or a marriage. It's worth it because it's a thick trade paperback. M.A.S.K. issue number 2, M.A.S.K. versus Venom, and we find out who all the agents of Venom are. And it's all the members that we thought were dead that died when we had the M.A.S.K. intro way back in Revolution. There were several characters that died. One that died in Revolution at the end. And it turns out that Miles Mayhem brought them back. We just don't know how, but he brought them back. And they're working for him. And their sole goal is to destroy M.A.S.K. and to run their faction, Venom, the way Miles wanted M.A.S.K. to run. And of course, Matt and the others in M.A.S.K. are standing in their way. However, Miles knows how the masks work a little bit better than Matt. So the fight kind of has Venom in favor, and then M.A.S.K. kind of gets that little twist at the end to escape. So they make it out, and now they're trying, and now they find out that the more they use the mask, the more they're exposed to, because of the OR-13, they're exposed to radiation, which the radiation is killing them in and of itself. So there's a lot, and then there's a twist at the very end, which I won't spoil until issue 3, but let's just say Matt, at the end of this issue, has more of a reason to want to take down Miles. He had a shot in this book, he just couldn't take it, and they think that there's a control issue with the masks and Miles, why he couldn't get that last shot, but I like it. The artwork's great, and the story's great, unlike another book that came out this week, which I will get into. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, issue number 10. See, now, this is my issue with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and they've done this several times already. We have a main story going on. We get left at a really tight cliffhanger, and then we get a one-shot story in between the main story. So, in the last issue, Billy and Tommy ended up in an alternate reality, where Tommy stayed evil, and that's where the villain came from, and Rita and Tommy destroyed that world or whatever, and we're left with, okay, so what's going to happen to Tommy and Billy? How are they going to get back? This issue does not take up where that left off. This issue, the main focal point is Billy, and how he's dealing with being the Blue Ranger, and what a hero is, and he's kind of doubting himself as a hero, because there are moments where there's a moment in this book where he gets scared, and he kind of, he second guesses himself, and it was at a crucial moment, but Kimberly jumps in and actually makes the shot for him, because he kind of gets frozen in fear, kind of. And the whole story is about just him building up confidence in himself as a hero. There's a wonderful Zack and Billy moment. The secondary story I don't really read, because it's Bulk and Skull, but I don't like when these one-shot stories happen right at a crucial part in the main story. Let the arc end, and then throw a one-shot in before the next arc. Throwing these one-shots in the middle of each arc is throwing the flow of the arc off. And to be honest, in all 10 issues of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, We truly and honestly have not gotten out of the first arc yet. The first arc, in the very beginning, Tommy was having issues, and Rita was using that to expose Tommy and to steal the Ranger's powers. This dragon guy was always in the background, hidden away somewhere. Tommy finally loses it enough where this dragon guy comes out, which led into the next story arc, and now Tommy and Billy are trapped in a different universe. Technically, it hasn't ended yet. The whole ordeal between them and Rita hasn't finished yet. There are chapters to this story, but there's no definitive. This is the end of the first story arc, and we need to get there before we start worrying about the one shots. That's just my opinion. You can feel free to agree or disagree with that. Not saying the story was bad. I enjoyed it, but at the same time, in my head, as I'm reading this, I'm like, but I want to know what happens next with Tommy and Billy. I want to finish their their universe or dimension, what do you call it? Their dimension problem first. I want them to figure out how to get home first, and then get the one shot about Billy. That's just my opinion again.
All right, so now we're going into my books. Divinity 3.
Divinity.
Oh yeah, Divinity 3, Komandar Bloodshot, issue number 1. So this book was actually pretty good. It just talks about Bloodshot, who goes to Russia, and his mission is to fight for Mother Russia, of course, for that. And the artwork's like really amazing in this book, and it talks more about how Bloodshot is with the nanites still, because that's what he's still going through. And they make him look like very, like not too old, like a little bit of like no hair, unless it's like in the future, like, because they're changing characters left and right when they're in the future. But really, that's what this first issue is about. It just talks about his story and why he does this mission objective more than just for Mother Russia. And it's a really great issue because he encounters with people that stand in his way, and he just finishes them off if needed. But a really great book. I'm definitely looking forward to the next issue. Generation Zero, issue number 5, which is another Valiant book. This one is where actually the Generation Zero people are facing off against the police squad, because the police squad trying to get rid of them because of all the wrong stuff they're doing. And the kids are like saying that they're not doing the wrong things. They're just trying to do things right because of the issues of their complications of having powers and stuff like that. So as police tries to stop them and everything, the Generation Zero team work together to get away from the police because they use that smoke and everything. And this girl in the story, I can't remember her name, she gets involved with the twins who have this, I think it was like something that they were looking into, like this serum thing. Like, I can't really remember what it was, but there was something of that. And here, I thought that this was going to be end of the story arc, but there's actually to be continued, because at this lake where they're supposed to go to, there's no lake. There's just this one big, huge building that's in the way, and we don't know what it is because that's where it's left off to be continued. So I would like to know where that's going to lead Generation Zero with that big building and what it is, because that's what really interests me in the book. So it picked up a little bit gradually, so I'll give it that. Grimm Fairy Tales, Apocalypse, Part 4 or 5. We have only one more part left, guys, until we end the Apocalypse series from the Zenoscope's Grimm Fairy Tale. And this one I feel focuses more on
the picture.
On Marilyn. I think that's how you say her name, because she obtains the Dark Light, and the Dark Light is what she's going to use during this whole apocalypse that's going on, because she can be the only one that can hold it. And then we have, now see, this is what I don't understand. In one story arc, they have Cinderella, who doesn't like Robin Hood's guts. But then in this one, Cinderella and Robin Hood are working together.
There are different points in time. I don't know if the one that she hates her guts is a current one or if it's a...
I don't know, but see, I know what you're going to say. But see, here's the part, though. She encounters with the dark entity that tries to tell her, about herself and about her hatred towards Robin Hood and everything. And then there's still this whole thing that's going on. And we kind of get a little bit of Marilyn and Sam that are kind of like not at levels with each other, because Marilyn doesn't want her to use the magic because it's almost killing her. But she's saying that she knows what she has to do to save the people from this
You mean Marion?
Yeah, Marion, from this whole thing that's going on. So she pays a good visit to her great friend Robin. And that's what's left off to be continued.
So Marion doesn't like what her girlfriend is doing. Or her wife.
Her wife, yeah.
Oh boy.
So then they both together said that they should go to Robin Hood to see what they can do. So even though they had a little feud a few issues back, maybe they're gonna talk it over and say, okay, this is what needs to be done. Because and we also get a little bit of Angelica with Hades. Like now they're actually being like father and daughter moment together. So I really thought that was actually the strong point of the book as well, because they were like not really at the same levels with each other. So I actually like that in this issue, along with Leslie. Weasel, yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. We have to get in the other books. All right, so that's the digitals. You have the physicals.
G.I. Joe issue number 1.
Yeah.
Was garbage. Did not enjoy. The story looked interesting, kind of, but the art, well, as you guys saw in Frontline, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have dropped it down. I should have showed it.
Oh, I thought you were gonna do something else.
I would love to, but I can't. And the only reason I can't rip this is the title. If not for the title, and if not for the fact that I am a huge G.I. Joe fan, I would rip the hell out of this book right now. I'm sorry, but this does not feel like G.I. Joe. So I'm going to wait till Real American Hero finds its way to an arc where I can start discussing it or honorably shout it out, and I'll do that. But that, I'm done.
So you're dropping it like it's hot?
I just dropped it like it was hot.
All right.
I want to rip it, but for the title alone and my respect of G.I. Joe, no matter how bad this book is, I'll drop it, I'll let it fall to the floor, I'll keep the plastic for a book that I need in the future, but I cannot rip that book.
Okay then. So let's go on to a better title, which I did review for Comic Frontline. Sonic the Hedgehog, issue number 290. This is the third part of 4 of Genesis of a Hero. And what I liked about this is that we get 2 debut characters. We get Amy Rose and Metal Sonic of this one. The artwork, I really love the artwork in this story. And as he's going after Dr. Eggman, Amy gets in the way of all that. And then Metal Sonic actually kidnaps Amy. I love the artwork, like I said before. And Sonic, who has the, what's it called again? The time something. The, I always forget that name. The, that thing, the time thingamajig or whatever it's called. I remember I said it on Frontline, but anyway. So, he's using that to change the future of it being the past from being not taken over by Dr. Eggman to the future. So, as that happens, a nice splash page of Sonic and Metal Sonic racing to save Amy. Sonic gets there in time to save her. So, yeah. Time stones. That's it. So now, Sonic and Amy are going to go off on the adventure of finding these time stones and finding all of them before Dr. Eggman uses the ones that he has to conquer the whole land. So, really great book. I definitely recommend you pick that up. And I can't wait to see how Genesis of a Hero is going to finale that conclusion.
Finally, the next issue of Batman, The Dark Knight 3, The Master Race. Now,
I think it's number 7.
It is 7, because 8 is the last issue. Now,
okay.
Obviously, I don't have the physical book because I get the collector's edition books. As a matter of fact, I actually did order the collector's edition book this past week on Midtown. Hopefully, it'll be the last time I have to order it on Midtown, because issue 8 was in the March. It is in the March solicits. I got to see if it'll be on DCBS and if it's not canceled. I've ordered every single issue of Dark Knight 3 from DCBS, and every single time it's been delayed. Once it's delayed, it's cut off of DCBS and you have to buy it somewhere else. I'm hoping that this time for issue 8, when we make our order for March, that won't be the case. So, Batman is dead, but Superman has a plan, and he's taking him somewhere. Carrie Kelly is having a hard time believing that Batman's dead, and now she has to take over and move forward from Batman being gone. You got Superman's daughter, whom, since the beginning of this story, I've wanted to see get punched right in the face, who now was told by the Kryptonian leader, go take, Superman's hurt our family, go take his son, and I'm going to raise his son like mine. So, obviously, the idiot that she is, because she thinks that because she's Kryptonian, she's better than everybody else. This character never steps foot. She's always flying. Her feet never touch the ground.
Wow.
She's always in air. Her feet are always like kind of curled up so that she looks like she's always sitting if she's not flying. So she does it. But Wonder Woman catches on to her and she's right behind her. However, Superman at that moment is taking Batman somewhere.
Oh.
The Lazarus Pit. To bring him back not only to life, but Bruce is young again. So he comes out and he looks like himself from before, he got old. So it's going to be interesting to see where this last issue goes, because now you got Bruce who's back and young, and of course he's screwed up because of the Lazarus Pit right now. You've got the Amazons versus the Kryptonians, and what's going to happen? How is all of this going? And the Atom is in this. He's in one page where he's like, I figured it out. You see all these gears in motion, but the question is, what is going to happen? I'm looking forward to it. Honorable shout out number 2 goes to Rocket Raccoon issue number 1. I enjoyed the story but did not enjoy the art. The art kind of threw me off for this book. I probably will still casually read it, but Rocket's stuck on Earth. He wants to get back to space. Johnny makes a guest appearance in here. The police, there's a funny moment with him and the police, but in the end, it was an okay issue, but it needs better art. I'm only throwing this out there because I happened to skim it because I had the time. Spider-Man issue 11, which is all about Miles' dad and being tested by S.H.I.E.L.D. to see if he'd crack, and he doesn't, even with the threat of his son being killed. Sorry about that. So in the end, S.H.I.E.L.D's like, yay, you made it. And I like that Dum Dum Dugan was warning him, you do this, and when, not if, when your wife finds out she's going to leave you, but he still does it anyway. And he's doing it to protect his son. To be continued, because now he has the mission. And what is the mission? Will I be reviewing Spider-Man? On and off. If an issue really catches my eye, I will. Maybe it'll get honorable shout-outs. But for the most part, it's not going to be on my deeply to review list. Same with this. Star Wars issue 26. Another page from the Ben Kenobi story. And we go way back to when Obi-Wan was Qui-Gon Jinn's Padawan still, and Yoda's in the story. It involves saving these kids. There was a nice beginning to the story, and then Luke is on his way somewhere else, and he gets the book out while he's in the X-Wing, and he starts reading again, and it's about Yoda and finding these children who he wants to train. It's an interesting story. I like the artwork, and we'll see where it goes from there, but honorable shout out for Star Wars issue 26.
Alright, Spider-Man Deadpool issue number 12. We've got to that number 12 mark where it's been a year actually, if it's number 12. And what I liked about this issue, it's actually very random because you have Spider-Man and Deadpool who's facing off. Yeah, and you give me a water bottle too, maybe?
Yeah.
It's getting a little dry. So you have Spider-Man and Deadpool are facing off against this Santa Claus guy, not the real one, this guy who doesn't like Christmas and everything, and he has all these powers and whatnot. So what's so random is that when, they talk with Santa Claus, Deadpool is saying, maybe we should show him the meaning of Christmas and what it's about and everything. So Deadpool and the Santa are on the same page, but not really Spider-Man because it's he does a little bit differently and whatnot. And I like the part at the end, how they got gifts for each other. So there is some parts of the book where saying, okay, Deadpool is really not always that bad because he has a little bit of a soft side, and probably hanging out with Spidey maybe got him to be a little bit soft-sided. But the funny thing is the gift that they got was the shirts. Spider-Man, it was the same shirt, but it was different people. He was here instead of there, and vice versa. If you saw the issue, you know what I'm talking about. But I thought that was really great issue, and something for the holidays, but even though past, it's really something to see of that. And finally for me is Spider-Woman issue number 14. Now we know that there was the death of Roger, who was Porcupine. And we see Jessica, thank you. We see Jessica, how she's really, really upset about Roger's death and everything, and just trying to find out this case of fighting the Hobgoblin and everything. We have Captain Marvel, or Carol, who comes in this issue to watch Jessica's son and everything, and that was kind of weird, but I'm okay, I guess they're on the same page here. And then at the end issue, we see the person who is dressed as Porcupine attacking Spider-Woman, but we know who it is. But what I'm guessing is that probably is Roger's ex or something, because her and Spider-Woman weren't on the same page with each other, because she was so mad, like thinking that she slept with Robin and Roger and everything, and this whole thing that happened there. So I'm thinking it's her. I'm gonna call it out right there and then. I don't know. But it really is building up story, because she thinks Porcupine is Roger, who probably came back to life. But I don't really think that they're doing that. And if they are, mind control, who knows? But I'm thinking it's the woman that she was talking to. But yeah. So that's all for digital.
This is going to be mixed. It's Civil War II issue 8. It's late. My opinion of this book is, if it was delivered before Marvel Universe moved on, it would have been a lot better. Maybe not a whole lot better, but the ending would have been better. It also would have been better if this was a shorter story. 8 issues was way too much, and it originally was 7, and Marvel jumped it up to 8. Again, this could have been done in, I have to agree with everybody on Frontline, this could have been done in about 5 issues, quite honestly. And what happens in this issue is, Carol and Iron Man fight, and we know that Iron Man doesn't survive, and then we find out that Ulysses is beckoned by the we don't even know who, the Terrestrials or what have you, and we get a bunch of like pages teasing things that are coming in 2017, I'm guessing, because there's the Spidey Captain America, which I'm guessing is going to be an event in Captain America. There's the Inhumans attacking alien spaceships. I'm guessing the Inhumans are going back to space. We all know the humongous fun that we're going to be not reading about Marvel animals or whatever. No, monsters. Monsters in the Marvel U. You got Ultron. I'm guessing Age of Ultron is going to come back. You got Sentinel. Looks like there's going to be an X-Man or a... Well, there's Spider-Man. So I don't know. There's going to be another event there. Thor versus Loki. It looks like Thor's going to be coming back and fighting Loki at some point. All cool and whatever. But basically, Ulysses leaves. So in the end, Carol and Iron Man fought. Iron Man's in a coma. Carol learned absolutely nothing. Everybody told her she did... Well, not every single person, but some people are telling her she did the right thing. Hawkeye teases West Coast Avengers, which we all know. Occupy Avengers, I'm sorry. That Occupy Avengers is his next move. There's a tease about Captain Marvel. There's teases about all the stuff that's going on already, which is Champions, She-Hulk, Inhumans versus X-Men, Daredevil and Hell's Kitchen. What's her name taking over? Rini taking a Rin or whatever her name is taking over as Iron Man. Black Panther series. Miles coping with everything, and then of course Captain America in the background of everything. And then of course there's going to be an aftermath called Civil War II Oath. I might read that digitally. Sure as hell I'm not buying that physically. Was it a bad book? No. The artwork was gorgeous, and because it's by Dave Marquez. But it was late. There were too many issues, and it could have been done just a lot quicker and easier, and the Marvel Universe wouldn't have, and if the Marvel Universe didn't already move on from the event before the event was over, it would be a lot better. Which is why I think Monsters Unleashed is going to be better, because it's going to be on the side. Everything's already going to be moving forward, and Monsters Unleashed are going to have their own point MUs, so it won't impact any of the ongoing series except for the Monsters Unleashed titles. And that's all I have to say.
Enchanted Tiki Room, issue number 3. This actually improved, which I am a bit surprised, actually, because I didn't actually think if I was going to be staying on board with this.
Well, yes, you are. You have still 2 more issues. If you look at the back, there's still 2 more issues that make the variant that we're doing.
Well, yeah.
For those of you that want to know what those 2 issues are, that's what the variants all look like when they're done. Actually, this is cool. I didn't realize this one has the volcano. See, volcano? That's cool that they did that.
Yeah, so in this issue, we get more about Agnes, who goes on her way, around without the dog. I can't remember her name for the life of me. And this girl that attacks Agnes. And meanwhile, we have the birds. I like the artwork, I have to say that. Who are trying to sing and do a band, but the leader of the band's like saying, this isn't the way I see it going and everything. And then they have a fight with each other of saying, like, did you write another song? And no, we didn't. And then that's where the band separated. And then we get, I can't remember what his name is. I think Wally, his name. Yeah, Wally's his name. Where he meets up with this little bird who he can't understand, but he tries to understand. And it's just really just birds just talking to one another. And it kind of, in a way, like, it's getting interesting and all that. And we also get the dog who should go back with Agnes because the bird's like saying, she really, Alfred. Saying to go back to her, like maybe things are going to work out better. And, well, I would say that the dog witnessed that. And I thought it was going to be that maybe he was going to find her passed down on the floor or something because of what happened with the girl that attacked her. But it was like a huge shock in the end for this one. So it improved. And for 2 more issues, I might as well just finish it off. So,
well, you are. We're under contract because of DCBS.
Yeah, for that.
I enjoyed Hulk issue number 1. Jessica basically has decided not to be hulked out anymore. And every time she gets ready to hulk out, what happens is it hurts. Being the Hulk actually hurts her. So now she's a normal person and she's back at her firm and everybody's expecting her to be She-Hulk. And here she is in her normal form. And people are like, I was expecting you to be more green. And she's like, no, I don't do that. I'm sticking normal. And then you have her first case, which, I don't know, it's interesting. It's about this character. Obviously, she's going to be the first story arc. Okay. It looks interesting. And then you see all these Z-list characters or Z-list heroes that are there to see her. Because she used to be She-Hulk when she was an attorney. And then you get this person who's writing this book about Bruce. And you see she starts to kind of lose it a bit. And every time she loses it, all she thinks about is, she feels like she's dying, what was it? She's in, extreme pain. So being She-Hulk actually is hurting her more than, when it used to be her transformation, it was like, hey, I love being She-Hulk. She was always She-Hulk. It was rare that she was actually normal. But now, it's like, it actually hurts. It really hurts her to the point where she can't be She-Hulk because it hurts too much, and it's because of what happened to her cousin, the thing with Thanos, everything that's gone on. It hurts too much to actually be the Hulk. So now she isn't She-Hulk anymore, or at least for right now, she can't be She-Hulk. And I like the way they threw in the cooking videos to keep her calm, because now, before, she didn't have to worry about her emotions. She could be whatever, angry, happy, sad, whatever. It didn't matter, but now we all know the transformation happens when they get mad. So now she has to keep her anger in check so she doesn't transform. Future Quest issue number 8. Space Ghost makes his Earth appearance. But unfortunately, so does, Omicron.
Omicron.
I love the artwork in this book. You got Birdman and the new Mytor, T version of Mytor, versus Omicron. And Omicron runs away and Birdman and Mytor chase after them. You have Zin and Professor Quest who get a nice visit from, I forgot who the person was, the head of Fear. And he puts them both under restraints. You got the Herculoids that are found by Birdman and Mytor. Actually, if you guys remember from the short story, they chase after Omicron and then they disappear. Well, they've been traveling the, I guess this negative space or whatever type of space, chasing after Mytor, but they've never found a way out. So now Birdman and Mytor are going to be taking them to Earth. They're going to show them a way out. Space Ghost found his way out. But I have the Herculoids. We have somebody in Fear who betrays Fear in order because Dr. Quest says, the world is going to be destroyed. And you're going to let it happen. Because the leader of Fear doesn't want to do it until a few cities are taken down and they're desperate. And then he could basically be the ruler of Earth completely. And then he'll let Professor Quest find a way to stop him. obviously this didn't sit well with somebody from Fear, and they fought back. All-Star Batman issue 5. The only thing that this book made me want to do is go out and buy the Telltale game of Batman, which, by the way, we really do need to get that. I've been watching a bit of it lately, and it's very good. It's a lot better than a lot of the Telltale games. But anyway, the story went in full circle. It turns out that in the end, Batman never cured Two-Face anyway. What happened was he gave him a type of chemical where if Harvey fights harder, he'll be the dominant force. If Two-Face fights harder, he'll be the dominant force. And in the end, the struggle is still the same. The police officers that were at Wayne Manor, they don't find anything. It turns out when they get down the steps, it looks like a man cave. So apparently, Batman or Bruce had some fail-safes in place that prevented the GCPD from finding the Batcave. It was a story that went around in a full, complete circle. Because in the end, Two-Face is the same. Batman's still doing what he does. We find out why Alfred betrayed Batman to begin with, and it was a nonsense 5-issue story. And for $5, no. I'm done with All-Star Batman. Physically and 99.9% digitally as well.
Alright, I review this for Frontline Deathstroke issue number 9.
I apologize for all the phlegm. I don't know where it's coming from.
I don't know. I've been getting that lately too. I don't know. And I felt this issue to be not really jumping out to me. And we said this on Frontline Live also. Like, we're in this new story, where it talks about, Jericho's side story about how he controls with other people. And then he talks with, Joseph Wilson and stuff like that, who wants to speak with Deathstroke, but Deathstroke is in this jail facility, or being questioned by Dexter. I'm just giving an abbreviation because I did review this on Frontline. We get Rose's different point of view of this. And then we get into this story about him at this gambling place. And it really just said, okay, now that I killed this person, who's going to run the club and stuff like that. And then after that, just the whole thing it didn't really jump out to me. So I really just feel that this issue just didn't, I don't know, it's doing that thing again, where, okay, here's the first issue, it's going a little bit down, alright, we'll give it a chance, it went a little bit down again, but then it went up a little bit with the verses of Batman and Superman, but it's at that peak again where it's at the middle, and if it keeps going lower and lower and lower, it might go digitally, or probably be dropped, but...
Well, it is going digital.
Yeah, so... Because the story is just up and down, but let's hope maybe the next issue will be better.
Batman Beyond issue number 3. Not bad by any points, but it is still moving digital, because I'm used to reading Batman digitally, Batman Beyond, because it used to be digital from DC. It used to have those chapters on the computer, and then I would review it when the book came out. But Terry infiltrates the Jokers, and I called it. Remember last issue? I said they're gonna catch him because he said he was I forgot who's Maloney. I forgot what it was. Matches. Yeah. Matches Maloney. And what happens is it turns out that not only does Terry's girlfriend figure out that it's Terry, and she's like, I knew it was you from the beginning. And I don't understand how dumb Terry thinks this guy is, but he's like, I've been friends with you. I know who you are, and I know you. And he's like, what are you working with, the police? And he's like, no. Or are you working with Batman? Who are you working with? And a huge fight breaks out, and it turns out now him and his girlfriend are in trouble. And apparently the Joker is from Future's End, because it turns out the Joker's handprint is Bruce Wayne's. Remember when Brother Eye fused them together? Well, now basically the leader of the Jokers has all of Bruce Wayne's money. So, oh boy. This does not look or bode well for not only Terry, but the rest of the world. Obviously, there's going to be a way, Terry's going to find a way to get that money back. and shut this Joker core down, but it's going to be interesting to see how that happens. That will be moving digital, but not because I don't like it. It's just going to be moving digital because I'm used to reading it on the computer.
All right. Blue Beetle, issue number 4. So in Blue Beetle, this actually has a little bit more of the built-on story about Blue Beetle's character, as well as what else is going on in this issue. So we get a little bit about, doubting like his, his superhero thing. Himself with the beetle that's stuck inside of his body that makes him Blue Beetle. And I like how we get a little bit of the backstory about how he became Blue Beetle, actually. And the artwork looks pretty okay. And we get a little bit of that. And also we get the from the MRI scan that he took, that something is actually in there that can be of possible effect to him in the future. But, and then there's this girl that he's talking to that he asked to go out with because she was new and everything. So, I really like that. And it's building up to a good thing. So, Blue Beetle's actually doing pretty well as I was hoping it would get. I'd say check it out.
Flash issue 13. Barry and Iris go out on their next date, and Wally basically takes over the night shift, so to speak, while Barry and Iris are on said date. So he's basically taking up while the Flash takes a little bit of R&R. Of course, he doesn't know that Barry is the Flash yet, but obviously he's going to be the one dealing with everything that's going on at night. There's a nice little backstory with the guy he's fighting, and it turns out in the end he turns out good. And I love how Barry and Iris are like, they're trying to figure out what got in the way of them dating so much, and it turned out Barry was always busy. She was a writer, and then she's also afraid, they're best friends. She doesn't want to ruin their friend. It's any default relationship where you're friends first. You're worried that it'll destroy your friendship. 99.9% of the time it does not. Let me be clear about that to all of you that are friends and want to date each other. But beside the point, proof is right here that Barry's like, no matter what, we'll always be friends, and they decide to actually, it looks like things are working out pretty well between Flash and Iris, which is great because we're getting a little bit more back into the familiar. DCU, and then we get a little bit of a teaser that guess who's coming back?
Commander Cold.
The Rogues.
Oh.
I will be casually reading this and digitally, and if I like what I read, it will get an honorable shout out. If I don't care, this is basically going to be the last time I talk about the Flash on the Dark Avenger comic book review show, at least.
Alright, this one I also reviewed on Frontline, the Hellblazer, issue number 5. This is more about John Constantine and Mercury working together now, since Swamp Thing is at his state where he really can't move around as much because of what happened in the last issue of Mercury trying to find Abby, but failed to bring her back. So as they're getting back as a team, they're learning more about each other with, just learning more about each other. And then when John Constantine goes see Mercury's mom, you know how people don't like John Constantine? At least she was the person that actually likes him, which was actually really something else. We get a little bit about Mercury's backstory as well, but they have a mission at hand where they need to find the Jinn, I guess, because I've been saying D-Jinn all this time.
It's Jinn, the D is silent.
I've been saying D-Jinn all this time, but now the Swamp Thing was going back to the Parliament of the Trees, like that's what's called?
Yeah, the Parliament of Trees.
Yeah. And they're talking about, John Constantine and how things are left in the hands of him. And, we're not really sure if things should be left in his hand, because of work with Mercury, and all that other stuff. So we're going to get a little bit more of what's going to happen. But, yeah, it's going pretty good. I mean, unlike the new 52, that was kind of a little this one actually picks up very nicely.
Detective Comics 947. Spoiler finally leaves the team. And not only does she leave the team, but she vows to be a thorn in Batman's side until Either he retires or turns himself in. She basically, in the first 5 pages, takes out all of Batman's team except for Batman. And then she threatens him, saying, well, at first you think that she's joining the victim the victim syndicate, but she isn't. She knocks the leader of the victim syndicate out. She wants Batman to retire because she blames Batman for Tim's death, all the innocent people that are getting hurt, all the supervillains that are coming out. She's like, leave it to the police, quit, give up. This is, it's not working out. And then you have the whole gang trying to talk her out of her decision because she's like, either quit or I'm gonna give all the identities of all of you out to the world, like Batman, Batwoman, all of them. And obviously she loses the controller, and she runs off, and she's like, well, until you decide to quit, you'll always find me standing in your way. And actually, at the end of this issue, we find, obviously, Batman's trying to treat all the victim syndicate because he did apologize in this book for what happened to them. But it turns out that some bad stuff went down in Gotham. However, they never got the call because somebody destroyed the bat signal. Spoiler. So basically, Spoiler's going to be that pain in the ass that will screw with the bat signal, will give Batman fake information or something to keep him busy. And basically, what happened was the police went in and dealt with the matter, so they didn't need Batman, but at the same time, it could have been dealt with faster and there would have been less casualties if Batman was involved. But because of what Spoiler did, she's basically going to be the pain in the ass in Batman's side now. And then we find out that Tim is still trying to figure a way out of Oz's prison. He actually does break out, but he sees something that puts a huge shock in him, and he ends up getting teleported into another cell instead. So I guess we'll be seeing Tim from time to time trying to free himself from Oz's prison until the inevitable big story arc crossover event.
Alright, Batgirl issue number 6, and this is also another team book where Batgirl meets with Poison Ivy, and they team up together, for that matter. And I really thought this issue was very enjoyable about how, there are some plants that Poison Ivy isn't too familiar with. So they try to work together to, because it's on the plane and on the wing and everything, and the plane's going like haywire and everything. So there's this scent that Poison Ivy uses to, get the stink from leaving because it was stinky at first, but then she used her spray to make it smell good. They get to, what's this place called? They go back to Arkham, but it's Burnside. Does that ring a bell, kind of? Because this other guy who we meet in this issue also wants to, who is it? Eat Cobblepot. That also wants to go to Burnside as well.
It's Penguin's son.
Oh, it is Penguin's son. I was thinking that.
Cobblepot.
Yeah, because it says an all-new Burnside son of Penguin, part 1. So I think that's going to be pretty good and interesting. I mean, maybe the Penguin might be but that was because I read Harley Quinn, so maybe in this one it might pick up. I don't know that. But I'm going to find out when we get to that issue.
Wonder Woman issue 13, the end of the first present-day story arc. Wonder Woman has a meltdown. After Themyscira disappears, she basically goes into some type of a catatonic shock, and she's lost. She completely loses herself, and now her and Steve are trapped on this island. Steve calls for his friends, but they're going to be trapped there for a little while. Turns out these other people are going after her from the, that woman, Veronica Cale, who wants Wonder Woman who wants to have Wonder Woman to open this gate or whatever. So they have to acquire Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman's lost, so it's up to Steve to protect Wonder Woman while this group of people are trying to extract her. And the good news is his friends show up just on time to save Wonder Woman and Steve, but Wonder Woman's lost. That's just it. That's the end of the first story arc. Wonder Woman's admitted somewhere, and we're left to see what happens next. Now, the downside to this story arc, though, is I did not like the artwork in this book. I did not like the artwork in this issue. Everybody kind of felt sickly. They looked and felt very sickly. Now, Wonder Woman obviously is, so it fit her, but Steve looked like he was pale, like he was ready to die at any moment, and that wasn't the case. So artwork threw me off just a wee bit.
All right, Teen Titans issue number 3. This gives like a little bit more of the backstory of which we'll call Damian Wayne, who was with the League of Assassins with Ra's al Ghul, and who faced off against her cousin. I can't remember what her name is for the life of me. Well, basically like the cousin of Damian Wayne. So they have a little bit of a moment where Damian beat her and left the scar for life and everything. And then as the ship goes into the forest, like they're standing around all the Teen Titans. And Damian actually, with, here's some artwork by the way. Damian seems to open up like a little bit, but not too much, of just saying, I know I got this bad blood and everything, but he's just saying that he's just trying to figure out how to be good.
Right.
And, about the whole team getting together and whatnot, other than that. So, for him to save his friends from not getting assaulted by Ra's al Ghul's clan and everything, he goes off on the dragon and goes to Ra's al Ghul, saying to him that I am yours forever, just to spare the Teen Titans.
Obviously, he's going to betray.
He's going to betray Ra's al Ghul, of course, because you could see it right there, but I just hope it doesn't go that way. That goes up. But I don't know. I mean, it's a plan of somewhat, but we're going to see what happens after that. And that's all for me.
On the flip side, Titans, however, we get more Wally development, but this time it's done really well. And I know it's taken 6 months to get here finally, but Wally's gone. He's in the Speed Force. He's with with Linda again. He's happy. But Linda's telling him, this is just a memory. You're in the Speed Force. You need to go back. And he's kind of doubting himself. He's like, she doesn't remember me. She'll never love me. It's always going to be different. You have the Titans fighting Abracadabra, and they're not doing too well. And she's like, you need to go back. You're needed there. I wasn't your anchor. She's like, think really hard. Who were your real anchors? And he's like, my friends. My heart's with my friends, and my heart's with you, but my heart is always with the Titans as well. And she said, just remember, I didn't like you when we first started seeing each other either. It's going to be a bumpy road. So... oh, the moments, though. The moments in this book, the feels were definitely there. So, Wally goes back, defeats Abracadabra super easy, which was kind of a letdown. The Titans are happy to have him back. And then, of course, bumpy roads happen with him and Linda. To be continued. There is a little bit of a teaser to the what do you call it again? To the Watchmen, where Manhattan was the only thing that was in Abracadabra's mind. And that's what, I forgot what her name was, saw in his mind before he disappeared. So, obviously, Dr. Manhattan. It's going to be interesting to see how the Watchmen fit into the DC universe and how the DC heroes deal with the Watchmen and get their universe back to the way it was or will be. Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps, issue number 11. Kyle saved Hal. And now we got the Green Lanterns and the Yellow Lanterns who figure out that, oh my God. And I love how John does it and then Hal does it later. He's like, it's Lar frickin' Fleas. And he's like, I know how we're going to get out of here. And he devises a plan, and basically it's revealed that, it's the Yellow Lanterns fighting the Green Lanterns. And it looks like he stages it to look like a real fight. You got Hal Jordan who finds out, Gantha and Sayad are alive, and Gantha and Sayad wanted to rejoin the Green Lanterns to help, reforge them again because all the Guardians are gone. So they find out that the Green Lanterns are there. They find Mogo, but all the other Green Lanterns have disappeared. And Sayad and Gantha are kind of a little bit lost. I love how Mogo doesn't even question why Hal Jordan's a Green Lantern again. He's just like, oh, Lantern Jordan, Gantha, Sayad, well, it's great to see you guys. I mean, we didn't think you were dead or, evil because Hal Jordan faked being the bad guy in order to, get the Green Lanterns back up in key. But anyway, Larfleeze, just like John figured, gets upset because he sees the Green Lanterns and the Yellow Lanterns fighting, so he wants to break the glass to stop them from fighting, but in breaking Brainiac's glass, normally, if you break the glass, it doesn't do anything. Everybody still stays miniature. But apparently in Green Lanterns, if you break Brainiac's containment, apparently it resizes you. So then basically all Superman has to do is break Kandor open and everybody will resize back up to normal size. This was a little bit of a plot hole. But then we find out, because they break free, Mogo finds out where the Lanterns are, and they're on Larfleeze's world. So it ends with Hal Jordan going, Lar frickin' Fleas. So Hal Jordan is going to rejoin the Green Lanterns now. And it's going to be a very interesting ride for the Lanterns and Hal. Action Comics 970. Lex Luthor is on trial, and Superman is on that planet now, and he's defending Lex. He's like, Lex needs to come back, you know. In our world, no matter how much I hate him, no matter how much, you know, I believe he's evil, he's not. We get a little bit more of the backstory, which we figure out, by the way, that both characters are from this planet that was attacked by Darkseid, and both have lost their families, so no, neither one of them are related to Wonder Woman in any shape or form. They are both aliens. Unless Wonder Woman is an alien, they're not related. And Darkseid basically destroyed their world, so the fact that Lex Luthor is supposed to be Darkseid's successor is why this person's saying we must stop Lex now, or else he's gonna destroy planets. And he's like, think about your family, think about your planet. We get a nice Lois moment. There's a really great John moment. And I love this girlfriend of his. Again, her and her grandfather play some type of role, I think, in this next story arc with Superman. But, you know, Superman finds out that Lex has a mother box and that he's been lying about it. And now that Superman finds out about the mother box, he's like, but the mother box is connected to Apocalypse. You've been lying. And he starts to question it. And it ends in the obvious, Lex, you're guilty. But we all know that Superman's not going to leave Lex in the at the mercy of these aliens. Suicide Squad versus Justice League, issue 2. The big fight between Suicide Squad and the Justice League. And obviously the Justice League is winning all the way through until Killer Frost finds an opening to drain Superman of his powers. Because apparently now Killer Frost is kind of like a parasite too. And I love the artwork in the book. I will say the artwork in this book it's by Tony S. Daniels, so no surprise there. But she sucks Superman's powers out, and basically in one shot, beats the entire Justice League. And now the Justice League is at the mercy of Amanda Waller. To be continued. Also in this story, we get a little bit more about Max Lord and the people he freed from the prison. And we find out, you know, this is like a big teaser to this universe isn't right. You get this one character who's like, I've traveled through many dimensions. This one's been manipulated. Johnny Sorrow says that. And then the Emerald Enchantress, I believe. No, the Emerald Empress is mentioning that time feels missing and that she has to find the Legionnaire, which she's talking about Saturn Girl, who at the moment's in Arkham. So obviously he's trying to set things right because they all know that something's different, that the world was manipulated or the dimension was manipulated. And I like how they're throwing these little teasers into all of their events right now, because there's this event, Justice League vs. Suicide Squad. There's going to be a summer event from what they're saying. And then obviously next year there'll be another small event, and then there'll be the big event, which is the one that's going to involve obviously Dr. Manhattan. They've dropped more than enough hints for us to figure out that it's the Watchmen. So if anybody at this point is questioning if it's still the Watchmen, yes, it's the Watchmen. So it's going to be interesting to see how things develop in the background of the universe. You know, we got Detective dropping hints, we've got Titan dropping hints, we got this crossover of the Justice League and the Suicide Squad dropping hints. We got hints dropping all over the place. Supergirl Being Super, issue number 1. It's a every other month book, which Kat told me. I did not know that this was an every other month book. I thought this was an every single month book. It's, I believe, 4 parts. It's a thick book. I mean, and you guys know I love when books have spines. And this book, she has spine. She has a spine and really nice back. This kind of reminds me of the Batman Dark Knight 3 back. So this story it feels very Smallville-esque. Kara lands in, I forgot where she landed exactly, but she lands in her spaceship and is found by two people who adopt her as their child. It was 6 years. 6 years have passed. She's turning 18. She knows about her powers. Her parents, just like the Kents, told her never to show off her powers, in front of her friends. We get introduced to her two friends, Dolly and Jen. Dolly gets a huge description at the beginning. We get lots of character development, not only for Kara, but for her two friends as well, and her father and her mother. The artwork in this book is great. The story itself feels very Smallville-esque because Kara's not Supergirl. This is about her before she became Supergirl. And yes, for anybody wondering, this is not taking place in the main DC universe. It's its own story, just like Superman American Alien. Not to compare it to Superman American Alien, this is totally different. This is its own story. And Kara's talking about having nightmares or dreams or whatever. And I have a feeling she doesn't remember Krypton at all. And I think that's what her dreams are. Basically, she got amnesia because she ended up on Earth at 6 years old. So obviously she's going to have some memories of Krypton, but for some reason they're repressed, or she has like a type of amnesia. So we get to see her using a few of her powers, going through puberty, popping pimples, which that was a very interesting 2 pages. And then it's her birthday, or the day where the parents found her, and she's celebrating her birthday. It was really, really nice. It had a really super, but still being human touch to it. And then there's a track meet, or a very big event that's going on, and then something bad happens, and that's where the issue ends. I like that they didn't just jump right into Supergirl, and they're kind of giving her a more human touch before they throw her into the supersuit. This is what I feel should have been done instead of the New 52 Supergirl, who is just whiny and bitchy, and all she wants to do is go home. And now with that was New 52. Rebirth, she's finally, realizing, my world is dead. I've got to make this my adoptive world, just like Kal-El did. And now she's kind of, saying, she's kind of giving in and kind of taking in that now she needs to be human, or she has to get used to living on Earth. But there was that whole process of her getting there, and they still kept that as her past. So, I don't know. I think this is Supergirl done right as compared to what we have now. I'm not digging it as much. That's just me, though. You're welcome to let us know in the comments below about any of that, any of the comics we talked about here, any of the comics we haven't read, or we haven't discussed in this video, which was about 1 hour and 7 minutes. My God. So with that, that's it for this review, guys. Hopefully you guys had a happy new year.
Yep.
And we will be back very soon. I'll be back with the haul. The Dark Avenger review should be beginning of next week. And yeah, so until then, guys, we are Comic Frontline, your #1 source for comic-related news, reviews, and a whole bunch more. If you haven't clicked that sub button yet, hopefully you will. This way we're in your sub box, and you do not miss out on a single video. We got videos coming out each and every day. Frontline Awards will be this coming Tuesday instead of Frontline Live. So look forward to our 2016 awards for all the stuff that's come out in 2016. And yeah, so feel free to comment below your thoughts. Let us know what you thought about the books that came out this week, what you're looking forward to that came out this past Wednesday, but it's supposed to be for next episode. And yeah, till then, guys, take care. Keep reading, keep collecting. Don't forget to check out comicfrontline.com for even more Comic Frontline goodness. And we will see you guys really soon in the next video.
Hey, everybody.